Welcome to Happily Ever After, another episode on our interracial marriage with the Raj family. And today's topic is a very fun and interesting topic. It's on marriages, arranged versus love marriages. And we come from two totally different cultures and backgrounds. So, honey, how was it growing up? How did you grow up seeing that aspect? You come from India, and it's known for arranged marriages. How was that for you? What did you think growing up? What did your mom teach you? Or how was the perspective at your home?
Yeah, it is a very common thing in India, right, to have arranged marriages. People talk about that with me a lot in terms of arranged marriages. And I've always seen it as something that I never understood about arranged marriages. My brother and I, growing up, also, we were like, how can someone, sorry to be very open, how can someone have their first night with a stranger that they don't know that much because it's just an arranged marriage, you know? And we never saw that as something that we could be part of. It is not part of our life. But I think I've shared about this aspect of my mom in previous episodes. My mom was always more into westernized influence. I don't know why, but and also we got influenced by Hollywood movies and we would watch sitcoms, so we were more into that. But even then, for me personally, I even before my mom passed away, I spoke with her. This is not while she was in her deathbed, but
Right.
years before, that I told her, I'm not going to have an arranged marriage. I'm going to love a girl and then I'm going to marry her. And my mom was like, okay, sure. If that is how you want to do it, go ahead and do it. However, I have seen both pros and cons with arranged marriages. In arranged marriage, the parents are there, right? The parents are the ones who the guy's parents are the ones who come and talk to the girl's parents. They see, and then the girl comes out, the guy is there, the guy sees and decides, the girl sees and shares her thoughts as well. And if everything goes well, they move forward with engagement and then getting married. When there are issues in marriage, through arranged marriage, the parents are there to come and give counsel for both. So both side parents come together, they talk, they sort things out, and the things are fixed. You know, that's one of the beauties of arranged marriage as far as I'm concerned.
So the parents are very much involved. It's more like it's a relationship between the two families.
Correct. So I know in Western culture, it's a little bit different, way different than how I see it, because in Western culture, you want them to be individuals or individual couple that will take care of their business and not the whole family being involved. But I have seen families where the parents come together, work things out, and then the marriages flourish even more. So that's a positive side of it, even though I personally don't see it as a, not that aspect. I personally don't see arranged marriage as a thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to fall in love with someone and then get married to them.
And this is another personal question that just comes to my mind. Coming from India and everything, I know when we met, you made it very clear you didn't want close family parents to be very involved in our relationship. So how come your mindset was so different from Indian mindset, that it's more like let the parents be involved? Like, definitely you wanted their approval and you wanted to listen, but you were not with that mindset. You were very far from it. So how come you came to that point, or what made you feel like, yes, if families get along, that's very nice, but if not, I don't want?
So I think one of the things that helped me was reading books. reading books talking about how important it is to keep the family outside of the marriage, like the parents and the siblings, mainly because of their influence. Like, for example, if you and I have an issue, you go and talk with your brother or your parents, they're not going to support me in most cases. They are going to support you, and it's not going to help you or me in that aspect. Number one, they will start having resentment against me. They will build up this whole story in their mind, even if it might not be true. I'm unable to speak today. and and also, the issue you have will grow even more.
Because more people are now involved.
Exactly. More people are now involved and are favorable on your side. But when the family is not involved and we have counselors, and one of the suggestions that we always have is not go to one person. We go to couples as counselors. If we both have any issues or if we both want some nourishment, we go to a couple who is a counselor, not just one person, because there can be some biases as well, gender bias or the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's good to have a balanced perspective and approach.
Yeah. So that is something that I learned later on, and I'm like, this makes sense, because I don't want family to be involved, because I can tell you today, if I share something about our issue to my brother, he's going to support me, right? He's going to be like, Martin, she shouldn't be doing this, she shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And
that protective
exactly
family link that it's hard to break.
Exactly.
And
it's I wouldn't say it is wrong, because they are trying to protect their family.
Right.
But in a bigger picture, it's unfair. It's unfair for the other party that has to go through the heat. So when I learned about that and learned about counseling, I was like, okay, this makes sense. So I don't want to have the family to be so involved into our marriage. Yes, they need to be respected. I was very open about those things, and I want them to be involved to an extent.
Right.
And that is where we set the boundary. And beyond that, it's between us, God, and the counselors that God will lead us to.
Wow. So a lot of your traditional cultural things changed through time. Number one, you grew up thinking you couldn't follow the trend or the tradition from your country, because you and your brother did not feel like that was natural.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more, just for the audience and for... I'm still learning, actually, because I thought arranged marriages was like the parents plan, they decide who it is, and then they just get married no matter what. But there's different levels and kinds.
Yes.
So not everyone in India marries like that or has to elope. Or can you explain like a little bit all the different kinds?
Sure.
That exist? Because India is not just one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Method.
So, older times, the girl was never given the option. I'm talking about 50s, 1950s, 40s, around that time, 60s. The girl was not given an option. The common traditional thing is the guy and his parents come to check out the girl and her family. The girl will not have a say in it. If the guy says yes, they will have to move forward. And then it changed where the guy and the girl have a say in it. Like, it changed, thankfully. And then it became into love, partly, like love relationship partly, and arranged relationship partly. Love marriages partly, arranged marriages partly. And now I think it's a mixture of both, but majority is love marriage. There are arranged marriages, so what they say is love and arranged marriage. So what happens is the girl and the guy talk to their parents about their interest with this person, and then the parents come together, and then
Decide.
they do the engagement and the wedding. So it becomes both, so love and arranged marriage. So most of the cases, that's how it is right now. It is not just about love, or it is not just about arranged marriages.
So it's more like a group decision, and the groom and the bride basically have a say of how they feel about it.
Yes.
They're not forced to it.
Yeah. And
Well-
late 80s and 90s onwards, it came to a point where the girl and the guy could actually talk during this time of initial visit. Like the guy can ask different questions and the girl can ask different questions and then make decision, which I think is much better than how it used to be. So that is how it all came about, and I'm glad that the parents can be involved, but also I'm glad that people can marry knowing the other person.
Somewhat, yes. Being
No,
able
now
to-
now they do spend time. Once you're engaged, they spend time together. They are on calls. They are traveling here and there, purchasing for the weddings and stuff. Because before earlier times, the guy and the girl cannot even see each other. After the engagement, they have the engagement, and then that's it. The next you'll see them is
At the
at the wedding. That's it. So that, again, I don't know how comfortable I would be to marry someone that
I see. That you barely met, if so, and then you just go to the wedding.
yeah, exactly.
That's crazy, huh?
yeah.
I mean, even for you being raised there, it was kind of crazy. So I only wonder what everyone else thought in those moments, if they went through with that, you know?
I think a lot of marriages were successful because of the layer of the parents being involved in it big time. But again, I don't know personally how they felt in their heart. But marriages were successful. There was
Successful as in they stayed together.
Yeah.
Or were happy together. At least stayed together.
Yeah. How about in South American culture? I'm pretty sure the arranged marriage is out of the books, but is there any type of stuff like that?
Well, that I'm aware of, at least when it came to my close family, it was very informal. There was no formalities. It was more like as you are in college, or, you know, whenever you meet the person you're interested in, you just start that friendship, then a relationship, and you don't need to ask permission of the parents. That was not something big either that I'm aware of. I mean, my parents
Wow.
didn't go through that. You just inform your parents that you're dating, and then they meet the person and hopefully they like them. But if they don't, it's very different, and I have no idea exactly where it comes from. I mean, I'm sure there's different as well in the spectrum, some that are more, you know, dependent on the parents, more conservative in the sense of building a relationship with approval and respect. But in general, you don't have that whole protocol that later on, as we were reading, you know, books, especially here from United States, of Christian relationships with biblical principles, it was very much encouraged. You know, the guy should ask the parents for permission, but that was not how I grew up hearing people say it is done, even on Christian circles. So I don't know if I was not involved with a very, I don't know if to call it conservative or just more traditional, or so it's not that there's disrespect. It's more like it's up to the couple once they are adults and they want to make their decisions. It's not so much the family involved, even though I'm sure there's different families, some that are more involved in everything their kids do, some less. So there is no formalities. You just meet someone, start the friendship, then you can formally say, do you want to be my girlfriend, my boyfriend? And then you are in a relationship. And then when I was growing up, which, 20 something years ago, you did not hear, and my parents didn't have this, and no one does the whole thing of kneeling down. I thought growing up, if a guy would do that, I would laugh because that's like so movie type. Like, that's not really real. It's just like formalities. And I was like, let's be real. You don't have to do that. So it was more like one day, you both are talking, and you don't wait until engagement to talk about marriage. You can talk from the very beginning if you're serious about each other, and plan and discuss and just be super natural, like intentional relationship. From the start of dating that you want to marry them, hopefully. And if it doesn't work out, well, you won't stick with them, but you will break up. But so the day you choose when you want to get married, that's when you're basically engaged, and then you plan your wedding, and that's it. So I always thought, it's just smooth process of building a friendship, being in a relationship. And then as I came to college to the United States and I started to learn more of other mindset, slowly I came to terms, okay, it's actually nice, the whole engagement thing. It's just like a nice ceremony to confirm that decision the guy has made. But I didn't like that it was so sometimes like, okay, you cannot talk about marriage or important things until you're engaged, because who knows if he wants to marry you. And for me, it's like, if you're in a relationship, it's because you're trying to get married. So I think it's very informal in Argentina, but it's also, for what I understood, I cannot say what I'm saying is the country standard, because my cultures are so mixed that, and so many perspectives. But at the same time, I think it's a little more maybe like India, in the sense it's not like so, oh, you just date and you're not even sure if you want to marry that person, and one day you decide you want to marry them. It's like you start for intention of marriage whenever you're dating, like whenever you are in a relationship. And that's another thing that was so confusing for me. Dating, courtship, in a relationship, engaged, like so many names. It's more like you're friends, then you're in a relationship, and then you're married.
Yeah.
And in the process, you decide the marriage and call it engagement or wherever. But for me, it was like, why so many words, and why so, I mean, if you're casual, that's friendship. Don't. But anyway, so each one's experience is so unique. But that was kind of, so my parents, when I started learning, okay, if a guy is truly respectful, he should ask permission. I was like, well, that's kind of nice. Like, he needs to put a little extra effort to talk with the parents, not just take my heart, but he needs to be more serious about it, or just not playing with it. So then I told my parents, get ready. If there's any guy, they might come to you. And they were like, that's kind of awkward. Like, what are we supposed to say? Like, you guys should just figure out yourself. No, not really. But they definitely wanted to analyze and had their say. But they were like, I mean, if you both, we're not marrying the person, so how can we say we approve or not? So they were very concerned in a way of like giving their final word, because they felt only God can do that. So that was just very different. But then they kind of liked it, and they were like, yeah, like expecting a guy to talk to them, because then it's like they have the right to say, yes, we approve for you to even be with our daughter, to get to know her or not. So I think we all got used as a family to new things more with I guess Western, I don't know, Argentina where it is, Southern. Southern and Western.
Southwestern culture.
So it's just very interesting the impact it has. And I believe each family, as well as we've talked many times when it comes to cultures, each family is their own little culture and their traditions. So
yeah. So when you were talking about the engagement part, I was thinking about Indian engagements. And I really like that, in fact, because with how I understand with the Western culture, the girl might say yes, the girl might not say yes when he kneels down and asks her. And I totally agree with what you are sharing. Like, you have friendship, and then next is relationship. In the relationship, you figure out things. You don't be in relationship just for the sake of being in, and you can break off anytime soon or anytime you want. You are in relationship only for the sake of getting into being married, right? If you don't want to marry, you always part ways, because the other person might be thinking, okay, we are going to get married at some point. Okay, we are going to get married. We're going to get married. And there are huge number of people that have those issues because they are in this so-called friendship, thinking that they are in relationship. And then even after they get into official relationship, they don't know if they're going to get proposed or not. I've seen people that have waited for like 7 years not being proposed, but they are in relationship. Oh, I don't want to move forward. Oh, I don't. Then that is not the right way to do, because you're playing with the other person's heart. You need to be sensitive as well. Be in a so-called relationship with someone else that also doesn't want to be committed to, But when it comes to Indian engagements, it's a whole celebration. It is like a mini marriage itself. Of course, not all the thousands of people are going to be there. There is maybe 100 people or something like that. They will come.
It's like a wedding, truly.
As I said, mini wedding.
A medium wedding.
So they come, and then they have fruits, sweets, and clothes to exchange between the guy and the girl's family. And then the guy will wear what the girl's family gave, and the girl will wear what the guy's family gave. And that is how the engagement is done, depending on also the religion. In Hindu culture, in Hindu religion, it is done one way. Christian is done another way. Muslims have done it another way. However, it is more like a celebration of coming together. And the girl is very clear. She wants to move forward. If not, that engagement is not happening. The guy is very clear. If not, the engagement is not happening.
And that's the point. I think when you are in a relationship, there needs to be some openness on where you're at. If you're like, I really want to marry you, but I'm not ready right now. Or I'm like, even I think after 3 months or 4 months we were dating, you wrote to me and you were like, I promise I will marry you one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, is this like a proposal?
I had to tell her. It was like 5 sentences, and she was reading it for like over a minute. And she's a fast reader too. And I told her, listen, this is not an engagement, or this is not a proposal. It's just a promise from my end.
And I was like, okay. I mean, since the very start, you were like, I know God brought you into my life, and I'm sure about you. And that was very nice to know. Not everyone has that assurance at the very beginning. Sometimes it's a process. And so I think it's very important to be open during that process where you're at. Where the guy is at, where the girl is at. Because he was like, in 6 months, I'm ready to marry you. And I was like, I definitely need more time, because I think I need extra time to figure out, because sometimes relationships, from my experience, like they would go okay the first months, but then things would start coming out that I didn't feel peace, and that it was more like the real stuff that we had to deal with. So I was like, I want things to really be sorted out and to have the assurance you are the one. Because sometimes you have a green light, God gives peace to move forward. But then that green light needs to keep coming all the way till marriage. In the process, if there comes red flags or things you have to work on, that would determine if you keep moving forward or you part ways. And so I was like, I'm not ready. At least I need 9 months, and then, the engagement, and then some time to plan the wedding. So I had my timeline, and I made it clear, and he made clear his part. But then we definitely needed our time. But we were very open. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because you wanted to marry as well, but not right away. that was fine with me, even though it means that I have to wait for like maybe a year or so. I'm okay with that. But in many relationships, it's not as clear as that. For me, within the first 2 months, I knew you are the one. That's it. I am like, God has very clearly shown me, and this is what I want to do. And I was very clear. But because of certain experiences in your past, you needed more time for the assurance. But because you made it clear that you want to move forward, but not yet, that's a different thing. And I totally agree with it. But many times in relationships, people are not even sure if they want to be in the relationship or not. So it just keeps prolonging and prolonging and prolonging. Before you know it, it's like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They are just aimlessly waiting to get engaged. And
that can be very frustrating, and just, I guess, just playing with someone else's heart and not be honest with yourself. Because if you truly feel you're not sure about this thing, you're not even sure if you want to move forward with them, say it. And maybe don't start. But if you do start and later on you feel that way, my recommendation is speak openly about it. So that you both are, because the other person cannot read minds.
Thanks,
and yes,
absolutely.
God can give signs and wonders to reveal what is in the other person's heart. He can, but why can't we be just open and honest and let God confirm? That would actually, because sometimes I think the holding back creates even more uncertainty, and instead of drawing each other closer, even through the differences, it becomes even a wider abyss, like space that no one really knows. And so
yeah,
I'm not
For
into
real.
all of that. Some people are into just mystery. And if you like mysterious stuff, I guess go for it. But it's not needed many
it's
times.
not needed. It's not needed. And that's why, bringing to the point, like in Indian engagements, it's beautifully done. Everyone is there. It's basically an eyewitnesses saying that, okay, these people are engaged. They are moving forward to marriage. Now, that also means that if something breaks off and they don't want to be married, some people see it as so much pressure that they have to get married because there are so many people that have eyewitnessed. But there are also other people that have broken off their engagement because certain things have happened. So my take from all of that is, you need to know if you're going to marry this person or not. Don't worry about other people, because there are going to be people that is going to complain about every single thing that you do, right? You make a left turn, it's wrong. You make a right turn, it's wrong. You engage, it's wrong. You break up the engagement, it's wrong. You don't get engaged, it's wrong.
Yeah,
there is
people
going to
will
be
always have timelines for you before the relationship, during the relationship, in marriage, like when are you going to have kids? It's time, don't wait. So everyone has timelines for your life.
Exactly.
But you need to know what is, like, if you don't have fully peace and the assurance, do not move forward. Don't get engaged, don't get married if you don't feel that's the time or the person. Some young people ask us, like, how do you ever know exactly if that's the one? What if you settle for someone and there was someone better? Like, how, and I guess this maybe can be another
topic,
episode,
another
but
episode, yeah.
there's like so much in this topic
Yeah,
on
yeah.
marriage and relationship, like the process, because it is so unique to each individual. There's no script that tells you how it should be, but there are things that could be so much easier and less stressful. Because you never have to settle for something you have doubts, are unclear. So
I mean, your mind is always going to say there is someone better outside somewhere.
or what if I'm missing out? But then
Exactly.
probably you're not really sure about this person.
Exactly.
That's why you're wondering if there's something better. So never settle for less than the best that God has for you, and that you feel this is the best. Like, even
Yeah.
if there was someone else, I want this person because I see God's hand, my heart is connected, and I'm just grateful for this gift. When you find a treasure, you're not wondering if there's another treasure. You appreciate that treasure. So
Yeah.
I think that's the point where you kind of need to find yourself and pray about it.
Find peace.
Yes.
Find peace in it. And I remember when I spoke with your parents, your brother, about before getting engaged, they asked me a few questions, but I'm so glad it was your parents because they didn't ask me so many tough questions. They just asked me questions that made sense. Of course, I cannot share all of that right now, but it made me also to think, okay, where do I stand and how is this and how is that? But then it was a great experience for me, and I'm sure not all the guys will have that type of experience with their in-laws or in-laws to be. But I think it is a very respectful thing, and I've always wanted to be very respectful, whoever it might be, even if they don't approve of me. I wanted to be respectful for that with that because end of the day they are the girl's family, and yeah, so it was really fun chatting with them, and then they all of them approving, and then sharing with my brother, my parents, my friends, and it was like a whole another thing. But I was actually thinking how I could do this whole engagement. Should it be the Indian style or Indian style, as in of course still surprising you, but
And it was how many months after our relationship, like after we started dating?
I would say 18 months. 18 months.
So those 6 months were long gone.
3 times. Yeah. So that is when we got engaged, and I spoke with them like 2 months before that, or maybe a month before that. I don't remember. I don't want to tell anything wrong. But it was fun. It was fun talking with them, and I think all the guys should go through that type of experience, like getting the blessings from the girl's family. I mean, of course, everyone has their own plans and the way of doing their life, but I think personally it'll be a nice thing to get blessings from the family.
Definitely. Definitely. And I was definitely not expecting it at that time when it came, but it was beautiful. I was ready even though I had not I didn't grow up thinking on like a specific proposal ceremony, but I was ready. I was ready in my heart. All my questions and things were confirmed over, I think it took me like a year to be totally at peace that this was the person I wanted to marry. And about that time, I actually
Yes.
by faith or whatever you want to call it, I said, I don't want to be stressed last minute, and I'm just going to go ahead and buy my wedding dress and my reception dress, and I wanted to do it online in platforms I could return if needed, so I had time to try and figure out which one was the dress peacefully, because I was like, I feel this is the person I will marry, and so I'm going to go ahead and get ready. So I was getting ready. Only my family and close friends knew about it. He had no clue, but I had my Indian sari reception dress, all from India. It came perfectly. The dress, I got one, I didn't like, then the second one was the one, and I was with my shoes, everything. I packed it and I saved it for a year and a little bit until the wedding, because we got married 2 years after we started there.
Yeah.
Dating.
So even though she said no marriage within 6 months, she already had her stuff.
When
No,
I
it took
had
later.
that assurance, I started planning because
Preparing for it. Yeah.
I had a sense in my heart, this is going to come and I better be ready, because I don't like last minute stress. And so it worked out so beautifully. And then my mom was like, well, you better be sure you don't gain weight and just keep the same size until the wedding. And it worked out.
It's nice though. Like, if your mom would have said, "Are you sure this is the one you want to marry?" or something negative about it, I don't know if it would have been that exciting for you.
Yeah. No,
You'd
I
have
think
had-
everyone knew I was sure. I just needed extra confirmations. I think they knew even more than myself that I was like set for
Ready.
this. But yeah.
Well, we have come to the end of this episode, but this is only part 1. We will do part 2, and we will see you there.